This is a new day to try to get right. This is a new day to get on track. Yeah, that's life in football. This is a new day to live your life. This is a new day to try to get right. This is a new day to get on track. Yeah, that's life in football. It's life in football. We are life in football.
You are now listening to the Life in Football podcast. Check out the new website, lifeinfootball.com. Once again, the website is lifeinfootball.com. Thanks for listening.
Welcome to the Life in Football podcast, baby. I'm your host, Mike Feed.
And this your co-host, Colin Moore. You know we loving life and enjoying football.
Top-notch coaches all around the world. Top-notch coaches all around the world. Today we got Coach Keelon Brookins on. He's coaching at UNI with them Panthers. That's the University of Northern Iowa. And hey, if you haven't heard of this program, man, it's one of the most secretive, unknown programs that I think a lot of people underestimate. I remember. Well, let me give y'all the little inside scoop on me and Simo. Now, y'all already know, we done said this plenty of times. We played junior college football at Ellsworth. And I remember my first year there, we played in a bowl called the Graphic Edge Bowl. And we played in the UNI, it was called the UNI Dome back then. I'm not sure if it's still called that to this day. But, man, when I went, I never forget, UNI was playing it's a team from Illinois. They got like a red bird. The red birds. I don't know if it's Eastern Illinois. It ain't Eastern Illinois. I can't remember the name of the team, but I think it's Illinois State. That's the name of the team. And they were playing a playoff game, and they had a beautiful stadium, man. They got a dome, y'all. A college football team with a dome. And it ain't too many that have dome, but UNI had a dome. It was beautiful, man. They had the nice field, the beautiful uniform, big boy crowd in there. And it had opened my eyes to a whole new world of, football for us, going to the next level coming from junior college. And it really exposed me to like, man, you know what? There's other football out here than just going D1, because coming from the state of Florida, pretty much that's all you want to do, and pretty much that's really your dream. But it kind of opened my eyes to a different perspective. And man, I gotta tell y'all, man, this is what his coach is coaching at, Coach Brookins, man, and he doing his thing. He played at Wisconsin, y'all, which is a big boy D1 program, and he also played at UNI. And man, he's one of the up-and-coming coaches that all y'all need to know. But without further ado, this is the story of Coach Keelon Brookins.
Coach, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. Very well. Thank you for having me on.
Hey, it's a blessing to have you on, Coach, because you're a playmaker, so we got to get all into it. And I know Mike was saying we loved it. When we came up there to see the dome, we loved it because we were so used to being in the state of Florida. So D1 schools that we see, the D1, it's the D1A and then the D1 AA, but y'all call it different now. But yeah, our Florida schools, a lot of them was just D1. Then we had a couple of D1 AAs, but you guys was D1 AA, but y'all was like really big time. Y'all really could have been just D1 itself because y'all got everything you need. So we really enjoyed it up there, and being in Iowa and just seeing how UNI, they really love it. Like when I was in Louisiana, if you went at LSU, anything else didn't matter. But the way UNI ball so hard, y'all sit right up in the mix with anything that's in that state. So I love it, and that's a blessing to you guys as well. But Coach, I want to know, like, when did you actually know you wanted to be a coach? Because you're not too long ago. So when did you actually know, like, hey, man, this is the way I want to go in my life?
Oh, man. Well, first of all, I got to thank God. I thank my parents for giving me the opportunity to be here. Wanted to be a coach. I didn't know. I didn't want to be a coach when I was a college football player. I always wanted to be a principal like my father. He's a principal. He's the elder at our church. So I wanted to be just like him. That's my whole dream and goals. I'm gonna be like just like my daddy. I'm gonna be just like my daddy and I got to college of Wisconsin, and things didn't really go the way that I dreamed of. But now, as a coach, I've seen it went the way of the Lord's will for my life. And I transferred from Wisconsin. I had a DC by the name of Jim Leonard. He was my DB coach at the time, and he was like, "Hey, Key, you kind of smart at football. Like, you pretty smart. You get it." I'm like, "Yeah, it's just football." And I transferred to Northern Iowa, and I took everything that he taught me about the game and about players and how to treat people, and I brought it here. When I came here, I had a kind of an edge on my shoulder. I wanted to be that guy. So I really didn't talk to people as much. I didn't see that personality. It makes that kind of an angry side of me. And that didn't work out for too long. It worked out for like 3 weeks. And then I end up getting really close to the DC here now. His name is Jeremiah Johnson, Coach JJ. And every morning at 6:30, I would get up in the morning. It would be me and him watching film, or he'll make a cut up for me to watch, and then I'll just give him the notes I took, or I'll just take whatever I learned from that film session to go to practice. And then about my season ended, and I was training for the NFL, and I was going to school here still, trying to get my master's degree. And they was like, "Hey, you want to help out with spring ball?" I'm like, "Yeah, whatever, cool, something to do. I'm already here. I ain't about to sit in the house all day doing nothing. My dad and mom didn't raise me that way, so I come out and help with spring ball, and I'm with the head coach everywhere we go. So he just telling me do this, do that. I'm like, okay, cool. It's out here fun. I'm out here signaling calls. I'm still with my teammates I just played with 3 months ago, so I'm still really close to them. And then I was still training for NFL, so I got to a point where I was like, man, what am I going to do next if this NFL thing doesn't work out? And that, God willing, my receiver coach at the time being here ran into another elder at my church, I call him mentor, Coach Pulley. And he was like, man, Keelon was out there coaching, helping us this spring, and he's a natural at it. Like, it's something that he's a gift. I've been working with kids my whole life because my dad's been a principal, so like talking to kids is not hard for me. He was like, man, you're natural at it. So then he called me probably about 2 weeks after like the whole NFL thing didn't really work out. He's like, you ever thought about getting into coaching? I'm like, no. Why do I do that? He's like, man, I talked to your receiver coach out the blue. He said you'll be really good at it. I was like, okay, well, I hear it from you. I get it. But he was like, his whole thing was, if your heart's still wanting to play football, then you're not going to be a great coach. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to still try to play football, so I'm going to go that route. And then about a week and a half later from there, Coach Jeremiah Johnson, Coach JJ, reached out to me and was like, hey, I have these GA opportunities for you. Would you be interested? And by this time, I know I see the writing on the wall, the NFL is not going to come. So I'm like, well, okay, let's try. I'll get my master's degree paid for free, so let's do that. And I'll go be a principal and be a teacher, be a principal like my dad did. And then I got a job at University of Central Missouri under Coach Bill and Coach Boda. And the first 3 weeks of the last week of July and the first 2 weeks of August, I hated it. It was a whole bunch of paperwork. It was a whole bunch of printing and sitting in the office and not talking to people. And then off the blue, it just changed. And I was able to work with the kids during practice. I was able to see them grow and develop. And I remember my dad always saying the same, like, how are the children? And I just took that mindset going to coach. I want to develop elite young men on and off the field. And the ways I could do that is be myself and make sure I have God leading my life to lead these young men. And that's how I got into it, just out the blue, truly, because I did not want to do it. And then once I got in the field, it's hard to take away from the field now. So,
man, look at here. I want everybody who listening to this episode, y'all done heard it first. If y'all just heard what I heard, I already know y'all know. This a future big-time head coach, period. That's what he is. That's what he is. I can see it. So, man, oh, God bless you, man. God, I'm talking about you got that set up. Man, yeah. It's a small world how your dad preaching, but at school, man, you got being so smart, you could dissect plays, and now your DB coach, it's a coordinator. I said he gonna be. So the fact that he saw that in you, then Coach J saw that in you. He get notes from, boy, you finna take off, and you young, you gonna be one of them projects. Talk about, I'm good. Got your own, man. So
I appreciate it.
You was at Central, hey, that Central Missouri. That's who they gave Mike the scholarship. They call the Muse, right?
Yes, sir. Fighting mules.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Mike got that scholarship. We laugh so hard because they not understanding that you got to take that money. So with you helping the players and you being on both sides, you wanted to go, but it didn't happen that way because God can still get you to the NFL being a head coach there. But with him having you being a coach and so good at it, how do you relate that to the players, like being able to connect with things?
That's a great question. I do want to hear on a point that you said about getting to the NFL. When it didn't work, my mom, when I got in the coaching, my mom was like, well, maybe this is God's way of getting you to the NFL this way than not. I was like, hey, that's a great way to look at it, Mom. She a wonderful woman. I think the biggest thing I take away from being a coach is just ability to connect with them as a man first, and then build off that to be able to coach them through what my experiences. I always try not to bring my experiences in it, but that's the best way to get an example because being a young black male, that's the first thing they're gonna look at. They're gonna look at, well, he's this coach, he came from here, he came from here. He's young black male, he was successful. So how can I pierce your heart and pierce your mind in a way that's gonna get to you so you can listen to me a lot faster than what everybody else is going to do. So I take that approach. I build really good relationships with my players. I take them out to dinner. We go get breakfast. We have a breakfast club. We meet in the mornings. Sometimes we just sit there and we don't talk nothing about football. We just talk about life. Now, I love that your podcast and what you guys do is life and football because that's what it's truly about. If I don't have a relationship with these kids, they're not going to listen to me. I'm 26. They're not going to listen. They're going to be like, okay, well, you 3 years old, 4 years older than me, coach. You know where. But when I tell them the story and that my background, or well, this is why I am, this is why I'm here, this is how I got here, but I want you to go further than me because I know your goals and dreams and aspirations. So I don't coach the same kids the same way because they're two different kids. But I do have one coaching philosophy, and that's to treat kids all with respect and treat them with love. And as long as I love them, they know I love them. I don't gotta like them that day, but I love them overall. So at the end of the day, they know we had a bad day. Let's go up here and watch this film. Let's talk about what's going on outside of football, and let's figure out how to make this day better.
Now, Coach, I heard you talking about your dad, being the pastor and the principal, and I heard you bring up your mom. I want to hear a little bit more about that, man. Coming up in St. Paul, Minnesota, I want to know how was it for you growing up, and the importance of your parents playing in the part of you becoming the person that you are today.
Man, they played an important role. I have three younger brothers, two who live with me, who lived with my parents and I growing up, and they played a great role in our lives. They instilled that God's first in our lives from the very beginning. Pray every morning, be in your word, you treat people with kindness, and that's what it is. Our house is my parents' house. They're filled with scriptures, on the walls, and it's a loving, but it's a God-fearing home, and that's what they raised me. You're gonna be a God-fearing man, and you just what you're gonna do. You're gonna abide by these rules, and it's kind of hard. You got your friends that's out here kicking it to midnight in high school. And you're like, I'm at the house at 9 o'clock, and then when my parents talking about whatever or playing a game, but it paid off down the road. I look back and I'm like, man, I'm here. Some of my closest friends from high school are probably not where they exactly want to be, but they're up and coming. But I think it's that root that my parents instilled in me at that young of an age.
Now, for a lot of people who don't know, if you could, man, break down the experience at UNI and the UNI football program. Because, like I mentioned earlier in the intro, my perspective before even going to UNI, because I remember when I first got there, I remember the guys talking about, yeah, man, such and such, he doing good at UNI in the camp. But I'm looking like, UNI, what's that? And I saw the little posters and stuff and not really realizing what type of school it was. It didn't hit me till I got on campus and we went to that bowl game my first year when I was there. And it just opened my eyes to like, oh, this nice. So if you could give your perspective and kind of let recruits know or anybody know for us what y'all got going on in the program and what they could expect from a school like UNI.
Man, the first thing first is it's a great school. It used to be a teacher's college back in the day. The second thing I know, we talk about the kids from Florida, we got a dome, so it's always 70 inside the dome. Outside the dome, it get a little cold in the winter. But the program that Coach Farley has built is a program about confidence and grit and having an edge to go out there and be successful, because you're playing for the guys that came before you, you're playing for your seniors, and you're playing for people that truly care and love about you. And I think that's important because JJ, like I said, JJ means a lot to me. I'll never call another man a father figure in my life because my dad is so great. But if something would ever happen to my dad or whatever, JJ would be that next person I'm looking at. So it's like, that's my father figure. And I was able to do that and build that relationship with him because of coming here and him trusting me and me trusting him because I know he cared for me more than anything. And I think that's one thing I learned from Coach Leonard, and one thing I learned from UNI is these coaches that we love them. We love our kids more than anything. Coach J always tells our group, our DB group, when we come together, on senior day, I'm going to cry. On senior day, Coach Farley cries because we're losing those kids that we recruited, we built up in the program. They worked hard, they earned everything. You know, in the summer they're working, they're coming to workouts, they're building relationships with the teammates, they're coming to watch extra film to get an edge over their opponent. So you just start to get to know these kids on a personal level, but it's not a level of relationship that's not going to end because of how close you guys get. You're not going to deteriorate against going against that person. They're not going to lose trust in you because you build so much care in them. There's going to be times where you get upset, but at the end of the day, we're going to put an arm around you, and we're not going to sit there and yell at you. One thing about us great here, we don't yell at kids. We're going to MF kids. I can't even yell. My voice goes from high to squeeze. We really don't yell at kids. And we bring them in, like I put my arm on their shoulder, hey, you know you're wrong for that, or great job on this. But this program taught me not to yell, but to be around people that you care about and that's going to care for you and get out to others. And that's the university too. Like, I'm close to the athletic director. I'm close to the assistant AD. We text, hey, how you doing? How's the family? You know, you go out to dinner with people and you just start building those relationships with people. And I play here, and I was underneath the athletic director, and I got close to him because a professor connected me with him because he was like, hey, you're going to be pretty good at what you want to do, so I'm going to put you with one of my mentees so he can mentor you because I'm about to retire. And that's just an example of the relationships that's built here.
Coach, I just want to thank you again for coming on and all the inspiration that you're giving the young men out here and all the positivity that's coming off of you and that the guys could see, man. Just everything that you're doing, not just, you know, your dreams of being a head coach or defense coordinator or whatever it may be. I just want to thank you, man, for everything you're doing right now because you pouring into the young men, and that's what they really need, positivity. And like your dad said, like, okay, well, how's the kids? You know, that's the most important part. And sometimes I don't even think the kids realize it when they're in college, so cause they so focused about going to the next place or the next thing or the next level that they almost forget about the journey. But I want to thank you for playing such a great part and doing your job. And y'all, this is Coach Keelon Brookins, and he's one of the top coaches right now doing his thing at UNI. He's a young coach. He up and coming, and he's spreading positivity all across the game of football. And I want to thank him and the University of UNI for everything they out there doing right now. Even when they were talking about treating young men with respect, I surely appreciate that. And y'all, when y'all get a chance, check out UNI football program, man. The uniforms fire, the dome look good, and I'm telling you, it's a place I wouldn't mind playing myself if I was a kid coming out of high school, or you might want to transfer, or just coming out of junior college, man. And I want to thank all the coaches out there, matter of fact, because this upcoming season coming up soon. So y'all know what time it is, baby. Football season here is right around the corner. And hey, I'm gonna leave y'all like I always leave y'all. Keep your head up and not down, or else you'll fall to the ground. This is the Life in Football podcast. Catch you next time.
You are now listening to the Life in Football podcast. Check out the new website, lifeinfootball.com. Once again, the website is lifeinfootball.com. Thanks for listening.
This is a new day to live your life. This is a new day to try to get right. This is a new day to get on track. Yeah, that's life in football. This is a new day to live your life. This is a new day to try to get right. This is a new day to get on track. Yeah, that's life in football. It's life in football. We are life in football.